Google is the most visited website in the world and is so popular that for 2 decades, Google has been used as a verb meaning to look something up. And they dominate not just the search engine industry, but others as well, since a large number of the most popular mobile apps are also owned by them, like Gmail, Google Maps, the Chrome browser, the Google Play Store, Google Drive, Google News, etc. Most people assume that Google knows the answers to everything and think that the top search results for what they're looking for is the correct answer. And studies have shown that over 90% of the time, people click on what's served up on page 1 and rarely look on to page 2 or beyond. The ranking of the search results gives Google an enormous amount of power, since each page shows just 10 different results out of hundreds of thousands or millions of possible web pages. So they could easily prevent people from finding articles or websites just by dropping them down to page 2 in the results. Simultaneously, Google's ability to artificially surface certain information they want to promote gives them enormous power to artificially boost certain companies, products, political candidates, and causes over others. At the World Economic Forum last year, the communications director for the United Nations openly admitted that they worked with Google to change the top search results for climate change because the United Nations didn't like them because many showed data that didn't support the theory that it was man-made.
You know, we partnered with Google, for example. If you Google climate change, you will, at the top of your search, you will get all kinds of UN resources. We started this partnership when we were shocked to see that when we Googled climate change, we were getting incredibly distorted information right at the top. So we're becoming much more proactive. You know, we own the science, and we think that the world, you know, should know it, and the platforms themselves also do. But again, it's a huge challenge that I think all sectors of society need to be very active in.
Google felt guilty after Donald Trump won the 2016 election for not manipulating the search results more. So Google insiders discussed manipulating the search results to counter President Trump's agendas, like his proposed travel ban in 2017, which would have prevented people living in certain countries with high rates of terrorist activity from being allowed to enter the United States for a period of time. The Wall Street Journal reported that Google employees discussed ways they might be able to tweak the search results to boost pro-immigration content. What a surprise. A Google employee who had been leaking information to Breitbart told them that there were efforts to demote anything non-politically correct, anti-communist, and Islamophobic from search results. PJ Media did an examination of the search results for the word Trump in the Google News tab and calculated that 96% of the results were from liberal media outlets. Similar informal tests have been done by searching for various topics, such as when Fox News CEO Roger Ailes died, and people noticed that most of the search results painted him a monster. Another study at Northwestern University's Computational Journalism Lab also found that the majority of the search results on Google News were from left-leaning outlets. If you search for the same keywords on Google and Bing or DuckDuckGo, you'll often notice dramatically different results. On numerous occasions when doing research for my books, I've Googled various topics trying to find articles that I had seen in the past so I could use them as the citations. And I've had a difficult time finding many of them on Google. But when I look on other search engines, they're at the top of the search results. Sometimes when I even search for an article's exact title after having copied it and pasted it into my notes when I first saw it on social media, it won't show up on the first page of the search results on Google. Google even rolled out a new fact check widget as part of their supposed fight against fake news. But after a report from the Daily Caller showed that the feature was targeting mostly conservative news websites in an attempt to paint their overall reporting as inaccurate and misleading, while ignoring false stories published by BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, Vox, Salon, and other liberal outlets, Google shut down the feature, saying that they encountered challenges and they admitted that they were unable to deliver the quality that they hoped to provide their users. A group at the American Institute for Behavioral Research and Technology concluded a study in 2018 after looking into how much Google search results could influence undecided voters by surfacing negative or positive results about certain issues and candidates, and reported that such manipulation could shift the preference of those voters between 20 and 80%. The same research team, led by search engine expert Dr. Robert Epstein, concluded that that during the 2018 midterm election, Google had been able to flip 3 key congressional seats from Republican to Democrat due to the prevalence of pro-Democrat bias in the search results. A former Google employee who worked as a design ethicist, where he studied the ethics of using technology to persuade people, later warned in a TED Talk that a handful of people working at a handful of technology companies are able to steer what 8 billion people are thinking today.
I want you to imagine walking into a room, control room, with a bunch of people, 100 people hunched over at desks with little dials, and that control room will shape the thoughts and feelings of 1 billion people. This might sound like science fiction, but this actually exists right now, today. I know because I used to be in one of those control rooms.
Even Google News has recently changed to prevent people from finding exactly what they're looking for. The News tab is used to retrieve only search results from mainstream and brand name news sources, not just any random website like the main Google search page. And you used to be able to select specific topics you were interested in, and Google News would show recent stories about those topics all on one page. But in 2017, they changed the layout, making it much more difficult to customize your Google News feed, and now you have to click each individual topic you're interested in, making it tedious and cumbersome, thus encouraging users to rely on the Google News homepage, which contains stories curated by the editors instead of creating a custom feed to see only the topics that you want to read about. Then in 2018, Google announced their News Initiative plan, promising to give $300 million to various news organizations over the next 3 years, as well as offer them various tools and services in order to help them expand their online presence. They have so much money, they are just giving it away to garbage websites like Vox, the Daily Beast, and the Huffington Post to help them grow their audience and influence. The internet created an even playing field, allowing anyone on a laptop in their kitchen to create a website or a YouTube channel, which gave them access to the same number of potential readers or viewers as brand name newspapers and TV networks, and completely changed the power dynamics in the media, since ordinary people could bypass the traditional gatekeepers and editors and producers who decide what gets published on their platforms. But this power shift caused a massive backlash, and then we saw the very tech companies which created the infrastructure that empowered the individual now quietly working to tip the scale back in favor of the massive corporations their technology once disrupted. Google's corporate culture is liberal to the core, and one brave conservative employee leaked a video of an internal meeting held just after the 2016 election, showing all their senior executives sitting around talking about how disgusted they were with Donald Trump's victory, and that they were sure most people in the company agree. Google is such a champion for diversity and social justice that there are reportedly tampon dispensers in men's bathrooms because some men menstruate. In 2017, the company fired engineer James Damore after he wrote and circulated a memo internally titled Google's Ideological Echo Chamber, which was critical of the company's corporate culture and their diversity-focused hiring policies, meaning anti-white, anti-male, pro-LGBT, pro-immigrant hiring. Billionaire tech investor and PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel says that the FBI and the CIA should investigate Google for possibly committing treason because of their decision to work with the Chinese military. Google had been secretly working on a special search engine for China that was compatible with their strict censorship rules and would have linked people's phone numbers to their searches so the communist government could monitor what everyone was looking up. The project was only revealed after someone leaked documents to The Intercept in 2018. Google had already been working with the communist Chinese government since 2006 on their Google.cn, Google China, which allowed officials to blacklist certain search terms, but Dragonfly, the codename of the newer system they were working on, was going to be fully compatible with China's social credit score system, which tracks and rates citizens based on their personal activities. This is really just the tip of the iceberg about how creepy Google is, however. They're trying to build a god, an all-knowing artificial intelligent entity that insiders are calling a god, that will eclipse the knowledge of all humans put together. But that's a subject for a whole other video. In March, they released a service similar to ChatGPT called Bard to give more conversational sounding answers to questions like the iPhone's Siri or Amazon's Alexa, and those answers are just as biased as Wikipedia when you ask about certain topics, and just like ChatGPT, there is a trust and safety layer on top of the actual AI, which prevents the system from answering questions honestly about things like race and crime and other topics where the facts would hurt certain people's feelings. But that's a topic for a whole other video as well. If you like my serious monologues like this, then you'll really love reading my books. So order The Liberal Media Industrial Complex or The True Story of Fake News in paperback from Amazon.com, or download the ebooks from Kindle, iBooks, Nook, or Google Play, and you'll see how deep the rabbit hole goes. So head on over to Amazon.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.